welcome back to Little People Big Dreams. I'm Lori, your host. So happy you're back with us today. Today, we're going to talk about an amazing little girl that was sadly taken away from us during the Holocaust. Way too soon. She was only 15 years old when that happened. But it's okay because her spirit, her incredible spirit, lives on even till today. So it is only appropriate to celebrate her and her spirit and everything about her today. Today is the International Day of Commemoration in the memory of the victims of the Holocaust. Now, the little girl we are talking about, right here is Anne Frank. That's right. Anne Frank was born in Germany to a loving family. But when World War II broke out, Anne and her family had to hide in a secret place in Amsterdam. And it was here that little Anne Frank, wrote about her world wanting to have peace in her famous diary. And in this diary, she talked about how she believed in people's goodness, innate goodness, and her hope for world peace. After the war, her diary captured the hearts of the public, and she became one of the most important diarists of the 20th century. That's right. Okay, let's go learn all about this little Anne Frank, okay? Let's go. Little People, Big Dreams, Anne Frank, written by Maria Isabel Sanchez Vegara, illustrated by Sveta Dorosheva. Anne was a little Jewish girl who was born in Germany. She lived happily with her parents and her older sister, Margot, in the city of Frankfurt. You see, this is little Anne. But when she was about 4 years old, a man with a little black mustache became the leader of her country. His name was Hitler. He hated the Jews and wanted them to disappear. Oh my goodness. Let's see what happens next. Anne's family moved away to Holland, which was a free country. Anne's father opened a business and they had a home where they felt safe and free. Look at the two girls and the father. But one day, the Nazis invaded half of Europe and arrived in Holland. Anne and all the other Jewish children were forced to go to separate schools and wear a star on their chest. It wasn't any star. These stars that they're wearing, these are called the Star of David, which marks them as Jewish. For her 13th birthday, Anne's parents gave her a diary. That day, she discovered the pleasure of writing on her own. Look at Anne. She finally has something that she has on her own, and she can write all her thoughts on the paper. That is a really good gift. Anne wrote in her diary about how her family lived in fear of being arrested. They decided to leave their home and move to a secret annex behind a bookshelf at the building where her father worked. They had to hide. There was no other option. They had to share their tiny new home with another Jewish family and stay very quiet. Very quiet. They could not leave their hiding place in case anyone found them. They could not be found. All because they were Jewish. That is so sad. Let's see what happened next. Anne's diary kept her company, and she wrote in it for hours and hours and hours. She wanted to publish a book and become a famous writer. Let's see if she does. However, one day, Anne stopped writing. The Nazi soldiers have found them. Oh no! And they were all arrested. Anne's diary was left behind in her room. You see this diary? That's Anne's precious diary that was left behind. And she was arrested with the rest of her family. The family was pushed onto a train full of people on its way to a concentration camp. It took 3 long days for them to arrive at the worst place on earth. You see this train? You see all these black birds? They're accompanying the train? Yes, on its way to the worst place on earth. Anne's father, Otto, was the only member of the family to survive the terrible war. He was the lucky one. He found her diary and wept as he read what his young daughter had written. And he was so heartbroken that his family was gone because of the Nazis' concentration camp. But he had her diary with him. Let's see what happened next. He decided to publish the diary and share Anne's story just as she would have wanted. The world had to know the true story of World War II, of the Nazis, of the Jewish genocide. Everything they had to know. And Anne Frank was the person to tell it. Since then, millions of people have read and cried over the diary of Anne Frank, the story of the little girl who dreamt of a better world.
Wow, what an amazing, what an inspirational girl Anne Frank was, right? Her bravery, her resiliency during everything that happened to her during the Holocaust. That is amazing. That is why she's such a role model for everyone around the world, big and small. Now in the book, remember, they talked about a place called concentration camp. So Lori's going to tell you a little bit more about what exactly a concentration camp is. So to explain it briefly, a concentration camp is just like a prison, okay? And at that time, the Nazis captured all the Jewish people together in a concentration camp. So like in a prison all together. There were so many people crammed in together, and they were forced to work by the Nazis, and they didn't have much to eat. So sadly, a lot of diseases spread around the people, and also people were just hungry. They died of hunger, and not many people made it. And unfortunately, one of those people was little Anne Frank. However, through her diary or books like these, Anne's words live on throughout the world, through all the people that have read them. So that means through me, Lori, and through all of you, and through everybody has read her story. She lives on through those people in spirit. So, my dreamers, Anne Frank was truly a little girl with a big, big dream. Okay, dreamers, dream on.